Hi everyone, welcome to DOdaily. Thursday Thoughts is Des here with a live question and answers. Looking forward to getting stuck into what's been on your mind this week. Things you've posed me to give you my response to. Hopefully, just a little bit of information, perhaps throughout whatever we talk about, a little bit of inspiration to just to keep enjoying the things we do. Of course, that's what DOdaily is all about. It's just my real, honest, humble take on everyday life. And on a Thursday, it's just a chance to interact, get involved. Of course, I'll encourage you to leave comments, anything that's spoken about tonight. I'd love to read some of those out. And of course, before we go anywhere, please hit that thumbs up, smash the like button straight away. I'd really appreciate that. It would just help me, support me, trying to support others. Of course, what I try and do here is just help people who might need it, or like I say, just those looking in. It's just a friendly and relatable take on all the things that I enjoy and those around me perhaps enjoy. So a chance just to take something from it and just perhaps create some conversation, because that's all I'm trying to do here, with a slight focus on mental health. Of course, I want to support people, so if you can support me, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Whilst it does support people, this channel, of course, it's a way for me to process my thoughts as well, get things off my chest, whether they're good things, in different things, or whether they're not so good. I always start by talking about the week as it's going. I feel absolutely fantastic at the moment. Just been out, got in another run, did one of these Ross Barkley things, these challenges where you kind of break down your 5K. It's just a little bit of a confidence builder, just to prove that I can actually run at a quicker pace than I can muster over a whole 5K at the moment. So whilst it doesn't mean too much in terms of time, it's just getting uncomfortable, getting that pace going. Really got my endorphins flowing tonight. Whilst it was tough, it's one of the sessions I really don't like. So I was almost testing myself as well, sort of putting it out there for the guys to do. It's not one of my favourites. It really does take a lot out. Running 1K at a time, having a break, and then going again and really putting it in. So it's hurt, it's cold, it's absolutely freezing out there, but feeling fantastic for doing it. And again, another strong run to add on to the things I've been doing. Looking at this week alone, that's 3, out of 4 days that I've been out for a run. So really pleased with that, especially not getting one in on Tuesday. Normally do a quite steady one, but after the weekend where I got in my activity as well, it's a good effort so far. So particularly pleased with myself on that front. It's helping me do all the things I do. If you checked out Wednesday workout yesterday, I spoke about a run and how that had helped me get over a training day. Unfortunately, or fortunately, because I am enjoying the training. I've had another tough training day, lots of information to process. But again, it was a case of chucking those trainings on, getting out with the guys. I had that accountability. So I had to do something. But again, based on what I said yesterday and that sort of subconscious message, a subliminal message I sent to myself by advising others, it's just a case of doing something that I knew was going to be sort of uncomfortable, test me, but also test the guys. It's important to do it this time of year, and something that fits in with where we're at this point. Of course, it's January, it's early on, looking to build the guys up in terms of pace and fitness over the year. That's what the coaching sessions I do are all about. But also with the weather, it's slightly slippery, so it's just finding ways of making it work. And that's what it's always about, isn't it? Whatever we're doing, whether it's running or talking or whatever you enjoy, it's ways to make it happen and get the most from what you do. So feeling really happy about all of that. I'll have a day off tomorrow in terms of my activity. Of course, I'll be out first thing in the morning doing my wake up to walk video, attacking the day and trying to sort of look forward to this last training day. I've had 6 days now, or 6 working days of training once that's complete. So ready to get back to the day job. Whilst all the theory is great and I've really enjoyed it, like I say, looking forward. So if I can start the day tomorrow in the right frame of mind, probably not run, take it easy tomorrow and then I'll be back on it for part 1 at the weekend. Looking to vlog that. It's all a bit of an adventure as well, on my way to a football match. We're dropping off in London to get one in, so looking forward to that. Be a day out, you know. Hopefully I can maintain some of my good habits and not get carried away with the indulgence of what I do sometimes when I go to football. I'm really pleased on that front as well. You know, don't like diet. I like to think when I change for a while, but you know, it is a diet in reality. Lost some weight, and again, that's making me feel so much better. Lots of positive chat around the group, around the run tonight, so that's made me sort of determined to get on here and maintain that positivity to keep things ticking over. So that's the week as it is, the week as I'm looking forward to it. Of course, it's the usual format on DOdaily. If you want to leave any comments, please drop them in. I'll try and read them out. Again, I'll remind you to smash that like button. Help me get this around the YouTube algorithms, you know, just so 1 or 2 people might check in, and you never know, 1 or 2 people might just take something from it. I appreciate what kind of YouTube channel it is. It's my vlog. Some people might be interested, some people might not, but I do it anyway. You know, it's led me on to lots of nice things. Again, things that have made me feel really positive. Whilst I'm not purposely doing things, sometimes I get lots of things I've mentioned this week. Some football content I've done, you know, which has really made me feel proud of myself. You know, I feel like I've done well, and that's great. And then just people contacting me to do 1 or 2 things. There was one tonight from ITN News, you know, just to do something, do an article on something that they picked up from my Twitter. So perhaps that might get put out as well. But again, it's just a nice reflection of the hard work that's been put in. What I will say, I was talking about working hard, you know, and I don't want to sort of blow smoke up my own backside, but I know I do, and I get some criticism for this content, you know, DOdaily. It's a rubbish YouTube channel. Friends don't buy into it. You know, people criticize my football comments. That's absolutely fine. But last night I was working till 11:30, you know, paying it forward almost, doing things for other people. And again, it's those things that sort of bring me these rewards. So I'm not apologizing for anything I do. I'll just keep putting out the content and enjoying it, you know, and taking whatever rewards come my way. Really, really appreciate the things that happened, you know. And I spoke about the interview I did about Forest earlier in the week with Mark Saggers. You know, that name might not mean a lot to many people, but somebody who's followed football on the radio for a long time and realised that this is something they really enjoy doing. You know, what an inspiration that was to me, and that really set my week up. So again, it's using all those things, the running, the work. But again, with all that criticism, you know, it would be easy to get down, but I'm learning all the time to deal with it. And there's comments on everything I do. You know, that's just the way of the world these days. But I just finished off yesterday without being arrogant about it. Thought if anybody works as hard as I do, you know, finishing off after doing a running club in the evening, after doing a 5-mile run, a training all day at a new job, and then doing content on someone else's YouTube channel, you know, doing bits for other football channels related to the game at the weekend, and then doing my own DOdaily, then, you know, if anyone wants to criticize, that's up to them. I can sleep easy knowing that I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And that's what it's all about, isn't it, guys? It's about really, really enjoying what we do. Lots for me to go out there. Quick comment coming in from Ian. He's been part of the coaching session tonight. It was a really tough coaching session, but one that really challenged me. Again, just getting the guys out of the comfort zone. I've just been, the reason I said most of that there, thanks for the comment, by the way, Ian, it really links in well. What I was saying, it's just about getting out of my comfort zone. Don't get me wrong, it's not easy sometimes, you know, and it's a big effort. And if I'm not feeling it, things might get put off. But it's a case of keep sort of persevering, isn't it, with the things I want. I spoke right at the start of the week about, probably realise now what I really wanted to do, not just because of that interview, but over the last few months, over the last year or so, you know, I kind of look back retrospectively and realise that I probably wanted to get into football content, journalism, maybe. It probably is too late, but again, I can't give up on that, can I? You know, so all these things I do these days are just really trying to drive myself forward. So whilst I have spoke about my running, what I'm trying to almost sort of fill this with is all the different things I do, because it's not just about running, it's not about mental health, it's just about encouraging people to get from get the absolute most from what they do. Comment here from Dawn: keep doing what you're doing, you ignore those who criticise. You've worked hard and rightly reaping all the rewards. Well, I appreciate that, and that's what I'm saying. I've got no problem with saying it. Sometimes I have done in the past. I've been a little bit shy and slow in coming forward, to put them barriers up. But right now, I'm absolutely loving it. So why should I be upset about anything? But I do appreciate at times it could upset me when I'm not feeling good. So I've just got to keep this strong frame of mind and keep doing the things I enjoy. And that means getting out running, losing a bit of weight, focusing on the goals, eyes on the prize almost, and keep going at it. So that's that. What we do, of course, on a Thursday is discuss some of the things that people have posted in, and I ask that throwback. First things first, I go through the throwback from last week, just trying to sort of pop some answers up there to the question. What's one thing you're looking forward to this year? People always get a little bit nervous around this, going, "Oh, I'd love to comment, but I get a little bit worried, and I don't want you to read it." If you want to be anonymous, if I can say it, anonymous, that's absolutely fine. Just drop me a comment on any of the links you see scrolling across the bottom of the page. If you're not bothered about your name being put to it, any of the videos throughout the week, just answer this, or just comment now. There'll be another throwback at the end to go through, but it's just to sort of help people along. Sometimes this is all sort of friendly and relatable chat, and even when we talk about serious things, because we do on this channel on a Thursday night, there's been some really serious subjects we spoke about in the past. It's all done in a way that's done with genuine feeling and passion and intention, where people want to sort of get to the crux of things. So looking at this, of course, I set all my goals for the new year. It involved that marathon training, and it involves losing weight and all sorts of things like that. And I'm looking forward to several things. One of the things I'm looking forward to most is our honeymoon. Myself and Kay, of course, if you've been on the moon and you've not watched DOdaily, you might not know we got married last year. I'm sure every man and his dog knows that by now, with the amount of social media I put out around it. But again, no apologies for that. I love my social media. I love the interaction and getting involved that way. So yeah, we're looking forward to our honeymoon. It's definitely something I'm looking forward to. In the next couple of months, we'll be planning that, looking at sort of going on a train and having a bit of a trek around Europe, something a little bit different, something that we've not done. So really excited about that. Dawn and Ian celebrating Dawn's 50th. Of course, that's a milestone birthday. What I'm sure lots of us will celebrate as well. So a big one to look forward to. Lisa, her best friend's having a baby. An amazing thing to look forward to, isn't it? Always talk about making the most of life, bringing a new one in as well. Probably won't go on too much about that, or otherwise I'll start getting things labelled thrown my way as well from certain quarters. But Steve says, seeing Forest stay in the Premier League. Of course, that's what we all want to see, isn't it, Steve? I'm really sort of excited about my football at the moment. And again, with all that content I've been putting out there, it's giving me an opportunity. Forest being where they are, just one of the reasons. And it was one of the massive things that have put me in a good mood in general over the last sort of year, 18 months or so. And again, we've got to make the most of our passions, haven't we? I can't say that enough. So thanks for that. Like I say, there's no wrong answers. It's just a case of throwing a few ideas out there. Like I said, that question can sometimes be a little bit more serious. All the questions in the main can be a bit more serious, but it's just about trying to sort of show people that there's no wrong thing to do sometimes, is that whatever works for you, and that's what that is there. People get excited about different things, and I always encourage people to get enthusiastic. How many times in our life have we kind of sat on things and going, oh, well, whatever, and been a bit dull and dour about things? There's no point, is there? There's no point. Really look forward to it, and it makes it even better when it happens and when it's good. And that's my philosophy these days, just to get the absolute most from what I can. So thanks for all that feedback. Thanks to those with questions, actual questions this week. If you've got anything to ask me during this episode, of course, you can drop me a comment or any responses to these questions. Anything you think about what I say. Don't always get it right. Don't always say the right thing. But again, it's just the relatable side of what I do. It's just me trying to be a source of information and use the little experience I've built. When I say little, I'm not doing myself down. I appreciate I'm not an expert in these fields, but have worked around them quite a lot, and I do work hard, as I mentioned before. So I have built up a bit of knowledge. And again, all we have to do sometimes is bounce off each other, isn't it? Throw ideas around. And sometimes that's enough to get us feeling better, especially if we're not quite feeling it. Communication's so important. So definitely appreciate all the involvement. So the first question, I've touched on it a little bit already. How is the training and healthy eating going? I mentioned that it's going really well at the moment. I think I've lost about 7 pounds now, which is particularly pleasing since last Monday. So what we're talking 10, 11 days, that's I've not cut out everything. I'm not being silly about it, but I've just made sure that I'm having my protein shake for breakfast, having a light lunch, and I tend to have a slightly larger portion but healthier evening meal, and that's the way I tick over, and it's helping with my running especially. And again, getting 5 miles in last night, running a lot quicker, even though it was over shorter distances tonight, it all felt just that little bit better. I wouldn't say easier. It's never easy to get out for a run, but when you put the right habits and routines, I spoke about sleeping a lot. That one's not quite working out yet. Still got to get some good routine and that. Lots of things going on. Again, I'm trying to put out all this content to not give up on the dream, even though I don't really expect it to happen. You never know, with those things. So you've just got to keep working hard, haven't you? So I'll crack that, but thanks for the question, Louise. Really, really appreciate it. I'm sure in the next few weeks, I'll be up in the mileage, you'll see some significant weight loss. And again, I was talking to the guys at the coaching tonight about the difference. A few pound here and there loses you, it's so important just to sort of keep chipping away, keep working hard, but maintain that consistency. And anything like this, it has to become, even if it's kind of temporary, it has to become a little bit of a change, doesn't it? Well, and that's what I was kind of alluding to right at the start about diet. It's important to almost tell yourself it's a change. I'm a strong believer these days of the language you use to yourself. Hence all the words, they're not just cliches, positivity, enthusiasm, contentment, all these things I use to explain myself. If you use that language on yourself, you're going to feel better, aren't you? If you use sort of negative connotations, you're going to feel rubbish. So again, I've got to keep telling myself that these things are working. It's change, and the more I do it, it does become change. It becomes habitual, routine, and then ultimately, long term, it becomes change. I've gone through this stage many times, and almost sort of let it slip a little bit. There's been reasons behind that, but again, each time we just go again, don't we? It's never too late to try and be that little bit healthier and a little bit fitter, and that's what gives me the belief to keep going with it. Comment here from Eve. Hi Des, hope you well. Hope you well, Eve. Hope you getting out, doing plenty of exercise, and being really positive about yourself. So yeah, I appreciate that question. Just keep persevering. The results hopefully will show. I feel, people might disagree. Probably lost a little bit of weight in my face. I was just looking at one of these videos yesterday. And again, without being silly about it, it's just one of those scenarios, isn't it, where you feel a little bit better about yourself. Even if I haven't, even if I've not lost weight, if I feel it, and I do genuinely feel it, if I feel it, it's incentive to keep pressing on, isn't it? And that's really, really important. So yeah, I'll keep you posted on that one. If you've got any responses, any further questions on that, please drop them in. Don't forget to like this episode. I'd really, really appreciate that. And of course, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. As you can see, it's just me waffling away, getting the viewers involved, letting them ask me questions, and a chance to sort of, for you to get involved if you wish to. Question 2, what's your least favourite for running, strong winds or frosty paths? Well, I think we've had a bit of everything this week, haven't we, Tom? Last night, I was out with the running guys and running sort of slightly longer than I have been. I'm used to the paths around where I live. I know what ice is up and what doesn't. There were some icy paths. It's just a case of being careful. I won't push anybody to run when it's icy. Of course, I'll encourage people to be extremely careful and stop and walk if they are going to go out. I can't tell people not to run either. And I sometimes go out when it's icy. It's a case of being really, really careful. I'm not going to sort of really, really push it, like I say. But so I do that. One thing I really, really can't stand is the wind. When it's windy, it just drives me a bit insane. You're constantly thinking about which direction it's going. And when it's in your face, it's resistant. We did a session last Thursday and we was running directly into the wind. I almost used it then as the session. The session is supposed to be tough. It's tough running, boot camp type activities. And it was like resistance training. So I used it to my advantage in that case. But when I'm out running, I absolutely hate it because I let it get inside my head. And then whatever wind you've got in your face, when you turn around and go the other way, you think it's going to be behind you. And it never feels like it is. It's never as strong. Probably is to some degree. But it doesn't feel like it's helping you in the way it's hindering you when you're going into it. So I don't really like the wind. I've mentioned before, I don't mind the rain. I don't mind running in the snow. I don't mind it when it's cold. It's freezing at the moment. It's absolutely horrible. But again, we got out there and it's breaking down that mental barrier, isn't it? And tackling these tough conditions, not being put off by it. And all the guys tonight, as well as myself, are feeling really good about themselves as well. Comment here for me. I went running today, but keep getting pain in lower part of my back when it seems I want to have a few seconds rest and feel like I'm letting myself down. You're absolutely not letting yourself down, so you should never believe that. If you need a few seconds rest, we all need a few seconds rest. What we were doing this evening with the Ross Barkley challenge, it was 5K, but we stopped after every K. We had a break, and that was kind of the purpose of the session as well. So it's important, if you need to walk, it's better to go out and have a run with a few walking steps in it than not run at all. So you're definitely not letting yourself down. There's never, ever a bad run. And I strongly advocate that. People get frustrated. But it's these tough ones that make us stronger, isn't it? There's many runs in the last few weeks where I've absolutely detested it. And even last night, for the good feeling it gave me at the end, clambering around for 5 miles, the longest distance I've run in one go for quite a long time now. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. It was tough. It felt brutal. But when you've done it, you've done it, and that's all that matters. And like I said, there's never a bad run. Once it's complete, you can say it's done. We move forward. And it's the tough ones. And like I say, we talk about the mental side of it quite a lot. It's those that you have to get through, because you can't prepare. If you're training for a race, for example, like I am, a London Marathon or a 10K event or whatever's out there, you can't prepare for the weather. It's beyond your control. So you've almost got to prepare for all eventualities. That's why it's important. Even though I can't stand the wind, it's important for me to get out and run it when it's windy and just don't go, oh, I'm going to wait. Because when the London Marathon comes along, if it's windy and horrible, and I'm actually planning to do a marathon distance a few weeks before London, which is going to be a coastal run on the East Coast, which is bound to be wind affected. It's windy on the warmest days in summer, and it's probably going to get me for 13 miles in one direction, because whichever way it's blowing, it's probably going to be, it will be blowing. So I'm doing that purposely to try and sort of get used to those conditions should the worst happen, and then almost feel like once I've come through that, as tough as it might be, if I have to walk, if I have to stop for a bit, it's just a case of getting through it, and then mentally I'll be more in tune with what I need to do at London and where I'm at. So again, it's just about finding ways to take advantage of it and make it work for you. Talk of running. Dawn says, talking of running distances, what's your favourite and least favourite distance to run? I don't know, to be honest. I've not done many sort of variations in distance recently, but of course I've done them all in the past. Do you know what? One distance I really like is 10K. When you're fit and strong, I feel like a 10K event is something I can really get stuck into. You know, whilst it's not a sprint, you know, it's not too long either. It's an hour. You know, if I'm really fit, it's quicker than that. If I'm not so, it's a little bit slower. But it's a really nice sort of amount of time to run. And like I say, you can almost grow into a 10K run no matter how you're feeling. 5K sometimes they're a little bit brutal. We all think, oh, it's only 5K as runners, but it's not only 5K, is it? It's 3 miles. There'll be times when all of us sat on the sofa and thought 3 miles was a very, very long time. So 5Ks can be really tough. I get a little bit nervous around parkrun, you know, and for all the running I do, for all the talking about it, for all the encouragement, I still get a little bit nervous before running, and especially before a 5K, because you almost put that pressure on every time, especially if you're running well, to go out and beat your last time and do something a bit different. Where it's so I guess 5K is probably the one that I fear the most. I wouldn't say it's my least favourite, but it kind of gets into my head a little bit. The 10Ks are nice. Of course, when you complete a half marathon and a marathon, they're amazing feelings. Completing a marathon is the best feeling ever. I just think that's an incredible feeling. I've done that 4 or 5 times now, so, well, 5 or 6 times even. And when you've done it, you know you've done something pretty decent. So it's always a special one. But again, another one I like, it just popped into my head, a 10 miler. You know, I've not actually ever done a 10-mile race, and I keep saying I'm going to do the Great South Run, which is actually a 10. Oh, I have done one actually. I did one in Edinburgh. So a 10-mile race, you can really get stuck into it. Again, if you're fit and well, you can almost treat it like a 10K and try and push on for those extra few miles. You know, it's not just a few miles; it's 4 miles extra, but it's not a half marathon either. So where you might be in that endurance frame of mind, you can almost get the 10K done and see if you can hang in there. And who knows, it might be one of your better runs. Ian says today is 83 in a row of running challenge, and these cold days are the toughest ones to run in. So he's not particularly keen on the cold, but again, he's getting out there and doing it at the toughest time of the year as well, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's just about getting out there, enjoying it, you know, working off whatever you can. I use the accountability of running groups. You know, I strongly believe in those. I can get out on my own. You know, this week already I've run on my own. I've run with a running group, and I've coached a running group and taken part as well. So all ways to sort of get myself involved. And that's what it's all about. I will always advocate running with others and at least meeting with other runners to get yourself out there, or just any kind of activity, even if it's going for a walk. It's so important, isn't it, just to get that fresh air. Again, just a quick note for Wake Up to Walk, and I'll be on for that in the morning, hopefully getting some fresh air, just to sort of use it that way, because again, any activity is good activity, isn't it? Walking, running, a little bit of time at the gym, whatever it is, it all gets us feeling good. Nobody ever sat down after exercise and said that was rubbish. You know, only if they've been hard on themselves, only if they're trying to compare it to something else. But if you're doing it to get generally fitter and healthier, you know, it's always good. So thanks for your input on that question, guys. Thanks to Tom for it. You know, yes, it's the win that does my head in, but again, I'm not going to be beaten by it. I'm determined to tackle it. And a marathon on the East Coast, I'm not sure that's a great idea, but hopefully the weather's picked up just a little bit by then as well. And of course, we always have 3 questions. Question 3 this evening. Enjoyed some of your football content this week. Who would be your dream person to interview? And this has come from Kay. I didn't know she was going to post this. She actually puts the questions in here. Yeah, I've mentioned the content, you know, it's been brilliant. I'll put some of the links to some of the stuff I've done under this video, you know, because I am really pleased with it, proud of it. You know, I mentioned the interview where I was interviewed. I did a show last night with Kevin Campbell, an ex-Forest player. Again, it makes me sort of realise what I'm doing and how good it is, and the chance to meet these people that I looked up to once. You know, I'm not being silly about it. not starstruck with this guy anymore. I consider him a little bit of a mate, to be honest. But it's all nice things, and then people getting in touch just for comment. It just makes us. I wouldn't say it makes us feel important, but it gives us sort of a little bit of purpose as well, doesn't it? And again, a little bit of reassurance that what I'm doing is getting a little bit of notice, and that's what we need if we're going to progress in something. So again, I think there's a message in there. Don't be sort of worried about saying it how it is and why you do it and why you want to do it. Again, it's something I'm getting more and more used to and more straight with. So it's really important. But getting back to this question in particular, who would be your dream person to interview? The absolute dream, which is never going to happen, because he's not here to do it. I don't know if anybody would guess this knowing me, but it would be Brian Clough. I'd absolutely love to speak to Brian Clough, his views and his thoughts on certain things. He was a talker, wasn't he? And he had a strong opinion about certain things. I think some of my opinions align. Without getting into some of those, I'll probably get shot at left, right, and centre. I've already got myself into trouble a little bit on Twitter with certain views today, but I don't often get controversial. Again, it's about keeping things positive. But yeah, Brian Clough, I'd have loved to have met him properly. I used to actually sit at Forest and just almost be in awe of him. He used to stand in his dugout about 10 yards away, and it almost felt like the reason I was a young kid and the reason I was in awe of him, because it was like his presence filled the stadium. There's not many people that can do that in life. There's not many people whose presence just takes over absolutely wherever they are. And for me, Brian Clough did that, personally. My grandma did that, and that's why I was so connected with her. So people like that, who you look up to are so important. I suppose if I could interview somebody who it would be possible, even though it probably isn't possible, if you get where I'm going, who is still alive. There's certain footballers I looked up to, Stuart Pearce, Roy Keane, again, Roy Keane and his quirky ways. And I'd love to sort of speak to people like that, and just players that I really admire for their ability as much as anything. But again, just inspired by the way that they were winners, and leaders. Leaders are what are really important to me. So whilst I did make a political comment on Twitter today, which I try not to do, it's leaders that are important to me, and leadership, not sort of tarring everyone with the same bush and things like that. So again, Stuart Pearce, Roy Keane, they were the absolute epitome of that, weren't they? So it'll be either one of those two. I think if I had to pick one, it'd be Stuart Pearce. Pretty boring as a Forest fan. I think everybody knows that kind of answer. Dawn says here, we've watched the podcast with Jesse Lingard. He'd be someone I'd love to interview. He has so much to tell. Of course, again, somebody with a story. What I'm loving about Jesse Lingard, for any Forest fans watching, is his enthusiasm, his positivity. Again, he's found a way to put some of his issues behind him, and this is what I've done throughout DOdaily. Just put the things that could get to me behind me. Just go with it. Go with it. It doesn't matter what people think. Just got to go with it. Kay says, evening, Des. How's it going? I'm good, thank you. Hope you're enjoying this episode. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you getting involved. But yeah, they're the ones. Brian Clough, Stuart Pearce. It kind of gives away how old I am as well, doesn't it? But they're two absolute legends in my eyes. People I've really, really looked up to, as much for the leadership and their willingness to fight for each other, as much as the ability they possess, and of course that inspired me as well. Moving on, of course, there's this week's throwback, and I thought that'd be a great way to ask you, if you could interview, speak to anyone, who would it be? Dawn's just thrown one in there with Jesse Lingard, and that's as simple as it is. Drop your comments. I'd love to know what you've got to say on that. It'd be great if you had an opportunity. You might not be as hell-bent on doing football content or doing YouTube channels as I am, and putting yourself in that position. But I have had the chance to do it once or twice. I have got some interviews actually on this channel. One with Mark Crossley, an ex-footballer, surprise, surprise. One with a local radio presenter. Again, I've mentioned radio presenters a lot this week. I tend to follow people's voices I like. I don't know if that sounds a bit weird, but I love the radio. I'll probably enjoy it more than the TV sometimes, apart from the fact I watch a lot of sport. I love listening to things and following people's careers. That's why Mark Saggers was a massive inspiration. But there's one on there with Mark Dennison. And then there's a local lady who does part one as well. I'd love to do more interviewing, to be honest. And then, of course, there's one with Kevin Campbell, where we just sat down in a coffee shop and just spoke for about 2 hours. Just very, very candid, raw stuff, but it's absolutely brilliant. I'll tag those in as well. I'd love a few people to check those out and let me know what they think. But who would you like to interview, speak to, or this kind of sit at the dinner table thing with? What people often ask. I'd love you to drop your responses, give me some feedback, something to read out, again, just to sort of drive a bit of content, but also just see what different people are thinking. You might love soap stars, you might it might be the royal family, it might be some politician, it might be some world leader or something like that. Just really love to hear what you've got. Like I say, no wrong answers, and I'd love you to comment. If you're watching after the show, please just drop a comment. That helps as well as hitting that like button. Don't forget to smash that before we finish today. I'd really, really appreciate that. And again, it's just supporting me in trying to deliver the messages I do to try and support others. And today, no real song messages. That's absolutely fine. If you've got any questions for me, again, in the comments, any video throughout the week, I'll pick that up. Or email me, des@dorunning.org.uk. Get lots of emails of people wanting to create conversation, not necessarily asking questions. Probably get one email a week on average, and that means I'm talking to a lot of people at the same time about things that they feel confident to tell me. I say it every single week on a Thursday. It's one of the absolute best things I do, even in the fact it's through other people's adversity. The reality of life is we all have ups and downs, and we all need people to talk to at times. So I fully appreciate and fully sort of accept when people need that communication line, and I really, really enjoy receiving it and trying to help wherever I can. I'm no expert. I'm not trained in all of this, but I'm trained in real life. I'm trained in bad experiences and being down and fed up and all these things. And things have happened, which upset me. Things still upset me, even through these good times. But I've just found a way of coping mechanisms to get myself through it. And that's what's really important, isn't it? So if you do want to get in touch, I'd really, 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 really enjoy that. Just another quick one here on the who you'd like to interview. Ian would like to interview Jill Scott about her footballing career. Of course, England's all-time leading goal scorer in the women's team, and she won the Euros this year before retiring, as well as I'm a Celebrity. But yeah, if you want to get in touch, that's the way to do it. Any of the comments, if you're watching post live, or just email me a question, or get in touch if you know me, send me a WhatsApp. Get in touch through any of my social media, as well as all that scrolling across the bottom, linking you to the DOdaily social media. There's my own personal stuff. I don't hide behind any silly faces. For people who do criticize me about what I do about social media, normally they've got a silly picture and a silly name, but I just think you get what you see here. If I wasn't open and transparent, then I expect a bit of criticism. But the way it is, I am, so whilst it is unfair at times, bring it on. It's not going to stop me. It's not going to put me off. It's going to make me even more determined to keep doing all the things I enjoy. And when you get into that frame of mind, nothing can stop you. And that's all I'm trying to help and support others to get to a place where they feel comfortable enough to do that. So again, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for all the input. It's massively important. It helps me. We've got people involved tonight. Don't forget to like. Please do subscribe. even if you've got a second account, I don't care. I need to get 1,000 subscribers to do slightly different things with the channel. Just take it a little bit forward. I've got some plans anyway. Still working on those when things do settle down a little bit. I'm not sure when that's going to happen at the moment, but for now, have a fantastic evening. You know, I'm looking forward to a bit of dine time now, getting my tea, sitting down with Kay, playing with the dog before another early start, wake up to walk. That'll be available from 7 p.m. tomorrow. I'll get that put up. Just explain a little bit more about how the week's gone, why I use a Friday morning, and how I relate what I'm doing into it, to again be positive and get through it and look forward to the weekend as well. So if you can tune in from that to sign off for the week, that'd be absolutely amazing. Until then, guys, just doing it.